Welcome to the Sacred Light Collective, where we explore our experience as a multidimensional spirit in physical form, balancing being in this world but not of it. My name is Ali, your multidimensional guide, so join me as we co-create our shared experiences, conversations with spirit, all things light language, activations and energy as we remember who we truly are. Hello, beautiful souls. Hello, dear friends. Welcome back to another episode. It has been a minute since I have released an episode, and I feel as though I've been in a vortex of energy, and I don't even know the linear time period that this has been occurring in. I have really just been moving through each moment to moment, day by day, and navigating various life experiences, various personal experiences, and simply allowing so much of what is coming forward to be honored within me, to be honoring the inward retreat that felt like was happening, that I needed to go inward and internal for some time, and learning to honor that cycle. And also recognizing that it's okay to step back out. As I'll be honest, there was some fear around maybe it had been too long since I had shared an episode. Maybe I just needed to let this go and walk away. But the pull of the Sacred Light Collective podcast has me here today, sharing off the cuff, literally felt the call, answered it by sitting down and hitting record. So I honestly have no idea what is going to come forward today, but I know that it was time to step back out and to be seen again, having done the inner work. And still somewhat processing, still somewhat evolving, still somewhat expanding, but that will forever continue to be at a different and varying depths, I have no doubt. But it has been an intense period of really surrendering even more deeply. And I know you hear me talk about this all of the time, but this is really what is deeply present for me and what I have been receiving even in my session work, any circles, any gatherings, anything that I've been co-creating with, conversations with other light workers and star seeds and my mentors. But we're really here to deepen our surrender to the flow, to the allowing and receiving. And I really feel the presence of that so much at the moment, and receiving because we are always giving. And we're not always so good at receiving. And I've been participating with the Star Mothers in the annual Circle of Wisdom course, which is focused on flower frequencies. And I tapped in through the rose frequency, which I shared in our first circle, around this connection to us being the flower, and needing to nourish, receiving the healing waters. The healing waters have been so present, the element of water consciousness, so present. And I had this vision almost of like an arid landscape, a desert, parched and dry. And this poor flower trying to bloom in the middle of this arid desert. And we were just being asked to bring the waters in, to allow the waters to nourish us. And it's no mistake, is it, that our bodies comprised of water. And so this connection, it felt like, to the waters of the earth, and allowing that flow, observing the flow of the river systems and all the water sources within Gaia as a representation of us in our physical form as well, and allowing that to be received, to receive the water. And I've even felt this connection to any water that I'm drinking, really activating it with intention. allowing the cells in my body, the organs, the blood, whatever, all parts of my body to absorb hydration from the water, nourishment, replenishment from the water, and then allowing any excess of that to simply flow through my body and to release any waste or any toxins or anything that is not serving that replenishment, that rejuvenating and hydration. And I have noticed such a difference in my body since I have tapped into that, and just being really conscious of the flow of water through me physically as well as energetically and mentally, emotionally, on all of the levels. And this has enabled me to really move with the flow, more deeply than I have, ever before. And I know I've been speaking a lot. For those that have been with, the podcast for a while, I've been speaking into my journey with this, and it's really landing even more deeply. And I think that's what's so beautiful sometimes too. I mean, even my own mind talking about this now is like, oh, you keep talking about this, you keep going around this. But I'm drawn into that remembrance too of this cycle or the spiral of healing. And the cycle that is that we are moving through, and we're meeting these parts of us or experiences or patterns or conditioning. We're meeting it at a different point each time. And so this is a deepening of that cycle of coming into the surrender and to the allowing. And what's been interesting there is also the connection to the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So that's something that I have been working with for many, many months now, is my own inner feminine and masculine energies. And so the allowing and the flow, the surrendering, and so much focus on really moving with my inner divine feminine, really nourishing and replenishing those depleted stores. And what has come forward more so in 2024 is therefore the harmonious balance and connection and flow from the divine feminine to my inner divine masculine. And so creating more of the structure element or the doing element to my being and to my flow. And this has been a long process. And for many of you too, who come from this place of being in deep fight, flight, deep control, deep perfectionist, anything where you are a giving 24/7, always doing, always striving and achieving. And you'll resonate with this, where we have to work through that process a little bit of healing that inner masculine so that that part of us knows that it can actually lean into the flow. It can lean into the inner intuition and the inner wisdom, the allowing, the surrendering. It can observe the cycles too, right? The cycles of rest and replenishment. We don't do. We be. And we're not switched on 24/7. And so what I've really come to realize too is that coming into 2024, I had all these downloads and guidance about the specific ways that my higher self wanted to show up and the ways that I wanted to express myself. And I faltered through this as my inner masculine felt a little stalled. I couldn't quite grasp creating the foundational structure element to the flow because it felt within me, it felt a little unstable. It felt a little uncomfortable, and it was almost like doing things completely differently to the way that I'd ever known before. And I almost felt this resistance from the doing, and I guess in some ways there's an element there too of playing small, isn't there? Because if I don't do something, if I don't put myself out there, if I don't allow myself to be seen, there's an inner safety that feels comfortable about that as well. But it was stepping into this awareness of creating that stability, maintaining this frequency that I'd moved into with the strength of my connection to my inner feminine, or yin energy, if you like, or the being energy, whatever you want to refer to that as, to my higher self. And now allowing the foundation to be created off that. So I've spent a lot of time, as I've shared with you, really creating this base foundation. But then I got my first story up. I'd placed the next level on top of that, and really through my inner feminine, divine feminine energy. And really what I've been working on the last few months is stabilizing myself, stabilizing that foundation, creating that floor to be as strong, as stable as the base level, so that I can then put the next floor up, so I can take that next step. And so I can hold myself at these ever increasing frequencies and vibrations and energy. And so I think that it's important. Well, I feel like it's important for me to share that, because for so long I've been working on this one base foundation. And what I have really realized is that there are multiple layers to that. There are multiple levels to that, and ways that you can create that. And as you expand and as you grow, you want to keep creating that stability through that foundation, through that level, so that you can keep, rising. You can keep moving higher and higher. And so that is a work in progress. I don't necessarily feel like I'm nailed in on that first story, but we are getting there, and we're beginning to build the second story. So we're beginning to feel this pattern and creating that flow and structure, the trust and the allowing of that to come through. And that just feels to be what's on my heart to share a little bit with you here today, and to perhaps give you a little feel or a little different perspective around moving through the allowing, the surrendering, and then, coming into the structure, because we need that balance. We need that balance of the being and the doing, the receiving and the giving, that yin yang, divine feminine, divine masculine energy. And there are moments where my masculine energy resists that, and there's tension in the body as well. But there is also multiple times where I've actually felt that release, and I felt that softening, and almost the relief at there is a new way of doing this, perhaps a better way, a more easeful, effortless way, and how simple it is to start to build this and to create this in a new way. And I look forward to seeing how this expands and how this unfolds for me more deeply, as I continue to honor that balance of the cycle and to creating the structure, because we still need that, don't we? We still need that. We can't create without having some basis of structure. And particularly when you are looking to create business or to create some sort of offering, as I know a lot of you are also spiritual entrepreneurs in some way, shape or form, or perhaps are moving into that space. And so that is something that's been really interesting, is recognizing how this new way of stepping into my business as well is coming about through this quite naturally. But the receiving piece, I feel, is really important at the moment. I think that particularly as I record this, we are just moving through or into the eclipse energy, and that's feeling quite intense for me at the moment as well, and just really feeling to rest and to nourish, to harness the healing sacred waters, to harness the energy of the earth, to whatever feels nourishing and nurturing for you, to call that in, to call more of that in, and to allow yourself to move slowly. I think that's something else that has been so interesting is I feel myself moving through life differently. I feel myself stepping through, sometimes it feels like slow motion. It's quite funny, but it's this sense of being more gentle, more aware of what is important and what isn't, and releasing a lot of the conditioning around the hold that linear time has on us. And I say that is to not observe time at all, but it's interesting when you release there's not enough time, or I have 20 minutes to do these 10 things, I'm never going to get this done. And you step into more of an intention of being present with all that is here and all that is where my what feels aligned to my energy, what feels aligned to my heart, to my higher self, and where I would like to share that. It's really interesting to observe just how time moves around that, how time bends for you, how you can actually be more in control, if you like, of time, for want of a better word. You can be more in control of time than time being in control of you. And that's something that I really feel quite strongly too, because I've had several conversations with people where that has come forward. So I invite you just to, over the coming days and weeks, notice how you relate to time. Notice if time's controlling you, and where can you flip that? Where can you flip that and maybe open to being more intentional about controlling, I don't like using the word control there, but controlling time for you, and just allowing yourself to be in the present, and know that even though you might feel like things are going slowly or you are moving slowly, it doesn't mean that time is speeding up, that time is running away from you. I think that's sometimes the issue, isn't it? There's a real tendency for us to feel like if we slow down, time's going to slip away. And don't get me wrong, time feels like it is moving fast because of this vortex I feel like I've been in. I feel like I've blinked and a month or two has passed. But then when I look at that time frame, I can feel everything that's occurred. I can see everything that's occurred, and that so much has. And it's so hard for me to put that into words. So I hope that you can maybe feel that frequency if you open your heart and just allow this to come forward into your awareness, the understanding that you can actually create more time and space if you slow down, if you observe the cycles, if you release some of that hustle, striving, achieving, expectation, control of your environment as well. So they're just a few of the themes and topics dancing around on my heart for this episode, and I feel like I will leave it here. I feel at peace. My heart feels settled and calm, and I trust that this will bring a little seed or a little nugget of wisdom to open into your awareness over the coming days, weeks or months. Again, honoring the cycles of when that seed will sprout, when you need that wisdom. But I do really appreciate the community that is coming forward and the connection that is coming forward. And for you, dear listener, dear friend, beautiful soul, for supporting me and walking this journey with me and holding space with me here for us to share in these day-to-day experiences. You know, this is what it's about. This is about navigating being both a divine being, multidimensional being, and a human. Some days there's more focus on the human, some days more focus on the multidimensional divine being, sovereign being. And then there's days where we balance those beautifully. And it's just like allowing that to unfold and to occur. And I just want to close on that unfolding, because the image of the flower is coming back. And I invite you to connect to, in this moment, any flower. Whether you even know what flower it is, it doesn't matter. Just allow that flower to come forward through a color, through a vision, through a sense, a word, a knowing. Maybe it's a fragrance. Maybe it's just the frequency that you can feel. And embody this as you. You are the flower. The stem, the roots are your body. The bloom, the bud, whatever shape it is in at the moment, is your spirit, your essence, your divinity, that multidimensionality of you. And we need your flower to bloom. We need you to bloom where you are planted right now. And yes, there'll be evolutions and there will be cycles where maybe you're the seed, maybe you are just sprouting your roots, maybe you are just poking through the earth. But let that cycle keep evolving, keep allowing yourself to work towards becoming the flower. Dear friends, the light, the love, the divinity within me honors the light, the love, the divinity within you. Namaste. Until next time, much love.